The cityscape of Galactic Prime shimmered like a jewel in the void, its towering spires of glass and metal pulsing with the soft luminescence of artificial life. Airspeeders zipped through the carefully regulated skies, their headlights painting streaks of light against the perpetual twilight. In the heart of this vast metropolis stood the towering Imperial Justice Center, a fortress of law and order where countless decisions shaped the Empire's grip over the galaxy. Inside one of its interrogation chambers, the room hummed with quiet menace. Dim lighting cast long shadows, and a single metal table with 2 chairs served as the centerpiece. Seated in one chair, flanked by a pair of heavily armed Imperial enforcers, was a figure unlike any the officers had ever seen. The creature's physique defied simple classification. Its lithe yet muscular form hinted at predatory prowess, its dark gray exoskeletal armor gleaming faintly under the sterile light. Luminescent green eyes, slit like a reptile's, scanned the room with a mixture of disdain and amusement. Bound by restraints of reinforced quantum alloy, it radiated an unsettling aura of control, as if the cuffs were merely a courtesy. On the other side of the table stood Captain Alyssa Corvin, her dark uniform crisp, her demeanor sharp. A seasoned officer of the Galactic Empire's Criminal Apprehension Division, Alyssa was renowned for her no-nonsense approach to justice. She was used to dealing with dangerous individuals, but something about this prisoner made her uneasy. "You've caused quite a stir, haven't you?" she began, her tone deliberately neutral. The creature leaned back as much as its restraints allowed, an almost human smirk curling its lips. "Stir? Is that what you call it when a hunting ground is purged?" Its voice was deep, resonant, with an alien cadence that made the words feel heavier. Alyssa's jaw tightened. The arrest report had been vague, unusually so. A series of gruesome murders on the outlying colonies had drawn Imperial attention, and all evidence pointed to this being. Witnesses described it as a ghost, moving through shadows with lethal precision. It had evaded capture for months before a small tactical squad managed to corner it on an abandoned freighter drifting near the Thalan Nebula. "You're being charged with the deaths of 27 Imperial citizens," Alyssa said, her voice steady despite the tension coiling in her gut. "Colonists, merchants, a senator's aide. Care to explain yourself?" The creature tilted its head, an unnervingly fluid motion. "You hunt prey, and yet you are surprised when the predator hunts back?" It leaned forward slightly, the restraints creaking under its weight. "Tell me, Captain, do you even know what you've caught?" Alyssa's eyes narrowed. "You're a killer. That's all I need to know." The creature chuckled, a sound that resonated in the small room like distant thunder. "A killer, yes. But not just any killer." It paused, letting the weight of its words hang in the air. "You should ask yourself why I allowed you to catch me." The silence that followed was deafening. Alyssa's mind raced, but she kept her expression impassive. She had encountered criminals who postured, who tried to intimidate their captors, but this was different. The calm confidence in its voice wasn't an act, it was a warning. Before she could respond, the door hissed open and a junior officer entered, his face pale. "Captain Corvin, a word?" Alyssa stepped outside, leaving the prisoner under the watchful eyes of the enforcers. "What is it?" she asked sharply. The officer swallowed hard. "The lab just finished analyzing the DNA sample we took from the detainee. It's not from any known species in our records." Alyssa frowned. "That's not uncommon. We've encountered plenty of undocumented species on the frontier." "That's not the issue, ma'am," the officer continued, his voice trembling. "The DNA, it's rewriting itself. Every time we try to sequence it, it changes, like it's adapting to being studied." Alyssa's blood ran cold. "And the autopsies of the victims?" The officer hesitated. "Same issue. Their cells, they weren't just destroyed. They were consumed, altered. The medical team says it's like their bodies were being reshaped into something else, but the process stopped when they died." Her stomach tightened as the pieces began to align in her mind. She turned back to the interrogation chamber, her gaze locking onto the creature through the reinforced glass. It was sitting calmly, its glowing eyes fixed on her, as if it knew exactly what was being discussed. "Did it say anything?" she asked the officer. "Yes, ma'am," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "It told the team that its name is Tkalesh and that we're running out of time." Alyssa re-entered the chamber, her steps measured. She sat down across from the prisoner, her face a mask of professionalism. "Tkalesh, is it? Care to elaborate on your warning?" The creature leaned forward again, its voice dropping to a low rumble. "Your empire, with all its fleets and soldiers, has made a grave mistake. You hunted me down thinking I was the threat. But I am not the storm. I am merely its herald. The words sent a chill down her spine, but Alyssa refused to let it show. If you're trying to intimidate us, it won't work. We've dealt with threats far greater than you. Kalash's grin widened, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. Have you now? Then tell me, Captain, when the death arrives, will your empire stand, or will it crumble like all the others? The room fell silent once more, the weight of its words suffocating. Alyssa knew she had to tread carefully. Whatever this creature was, it wasn't just a predator. It was something far worse. And it had let itself be caught. The cityscape corridors of the Imperial shimmered like a jewel in the void, subtle energy, its towering spires of glass and metal in times of mounting luminescence of artificial light. Captain Alyssa Corvin stood in the observation chamber, carefully regulating at the live feed of their headlights painting streaks of light against the perpetual twilight. Its glowing green eyes. In the heart of this vast metropolis stood the towering Imperial Justice Center, their last exchange, a fortress of law and order where countless decisions shaped the Empire's grip over the galaxy. What do you make of it? Inside one of its interrogation chambers, the room hummed with trusted aid and a seasoned dim lighting cast long shadows, Dren adjusted a single metal table with two chairs served as the centerpiece. I've gone through the records of every species and predator heavily armed Imperial enforcers. There's no match. Was a figure whatever this thing is, any of the officers had ever seen. It's either too old or too alien to fit our frameworks. Defied simple classification. Her arms. Its lithe yet muscular form hinted at predatory prowess. Its dark gray exoskeletal armor gleaming but Alyssa's sharp glare pushed him forward. Luminescent tissue samples indicate like a reptile biologically rewritten the room with a mixture of disdain and amusement. Kalish, bound by restraints of reinforced trying to overwrite their DNA. It radiated an unsettling aura, but it wasn't random, as if the cuffs were merely a courtesy. Alyssa turned back to the screen, her voice Captain Alyssa Corvin. It's not just a uniform crisp, it's a weapon. Sharp. A soft chime interrupted them, signaling an Empire's criminal apprehension division. Alyssa pressed a button on the console, and the holographic visage of Admiral Relvis. She was used to dealing with dangerous individuals. His grizzled features something about the weight of decades made her uneasy, and his steely eyes quite a stir, haven't you? She began. Captain Corvin, what's the status of the detainee? The creature leaned back as much as its restraints allowed. But this isn't an ordinary case. Curling its lips. The creature, Kalish, is that claims to be a hunting ground is threat. Its voice was grimly resonant. That aligns with what our deep space sensors have to feel heavier. There's been an uptick in anomalous activity near the Galactic vague. Energy signatures we can't explain. A series of gruesome murders on the outlying colonies had drawn Imperial attention, and all evidence pointed to this. You think it's connected to Kalish? Witnesses described it as expression hardened, moving through shadows. We can't afford to dismiss the possibility. It had evaded the Empire's strength lies in its ability to act decisively. Managed to corner it on an abandoned freighter drifting near the Milan Nebula. The transmission ended abruptly, the deaths of 27 Imperial staring at the empty space where the Admiral's image had been. Despite the tension coiling in her voice resolute, colonists, bring in the xenobiologists. Aid. I want every inch of that thing studied. The creature tilted its head and entered the observation motion. Led by Dr. Amelia and yet you are surprised when the expertise in alien physiology was unparalleled. Slightly, the restrained creaking under its quick mind had earned her respect across the Empire. What you've caught? Though her disdain for military bureaucracy was well known. What have you dragged me into this time, Captain? The creature chuckled. Amelia asked, glancing at the small room like distant thunder. This, Alyssa said, gesturing to the creature on the screen. I need to know what letting the weight of its words hang in the air. Most importantly, you should ask yourself if I allowed you to catch me. Amelia studied the creature for a moment before responding. Alyssa's mind raced, like anything I've ever seen. Expression impassive. That exoskeleton had encountered criminals who tried to intimidate their captors, but this was different. It's not armor. The calm confidence in its voice wasn't maybe even adaptive. It was a warning. Dren chimed in. Before she could respond, it's already shown signs of self-modification at the genetic level. His face pale. Our tests on its restraints indicate they're holding, but Alyssa stepped outside. Then we're sitting leaving the prisoner under the watchful eyes of the enforcers. Matter of fact. What is it? If this thing is what it claims to be, the containment won't be enough. The lab just finished analyzing the DNA sample we took from the detainee. Let's start with an interrogation. It's not from any known species in our records. Moments later, Alyssa re-entered the interrogation chamber. We've encountered plenty of undocumented species on the frontier. Kalish looked up. That's not the issue, man. Unreadable, the officer continued with his voice trembling. The DNA, brought a scientist, it's rewriting itself. Its voice a low rumble. Every time we try to sequence it changes. Alyssa ignored like the it's adapting to being studied. We want the truth, Kalish. Alyssa's blood ran cold. What's coming? And the autopsies of the leaned victims, forward, the restraints creaking ominously. You ask questions as if you're prepared for the answers. They weren't just destroyed, but you are not. They were consumed, altered. Alyssa shot back. The medical team says it's like their bodies were being reshaped into something else. I was born in the crucible of annihilation. Her stomach tightened if you could call them that began to align in her mind itself. She turned back to the interrogation chamber, her gaze locking onto the creature through the reinforced glass. A scout sent to observe, was sitting calmly, its
Prepare
glowing
for
eyes
what?
fixed on her,
Amelia
as if
asked,
it knew
her
exactly what
curiosity
was
momentarily
being discussed.
overriding her
Did it
fear.
say anything?
For the
She asked
inevitable,
the officer.
Tkalash replied.
Yes, ma'am, he replied.
Your galaxy
his
is
voice
ripe.
barely
The
above
death
a
is
whisper.
coming.
It
An
told
ancient
the team
force
that its
older
name is
than your
Tkalash,
stars,
and that we're running out of
reshapes
time.
and perfects.
Alyssa re-entered
I was
the
its
chamber,
experiment,
her steps
its
measured.
prototype.
She sat
But it
down
has
across
evolved
from the
far
prisoner,
beyond me.
her face a
The
mask
room
of
fell silent.
professionalism. Even
Tkalash,
Amelia,
is it?
unflappable
Care
in the
to
face of the
elaborate on your
unknown,
warning?
seemed shaken.
The creature leaned
You're
forward
lying,
again,
Alyssa
its
said,
voice
dropping to a
voice
low
lacked
rumble.
conviction.
Your empire,
Tkalash
with all
smiled,
its fleets
a chilling
and soldiers,
expression
has
that
made a
revealed
grave
rows
mistake.
of razor-sharp
You
teeth.
hunted me down,
Am
thinking
I?
I was the
Tell
threat.
me, Captain,
But I am
how
not
long
the
do you
storm.
think your empire
I
can
am
hold
merely
against
its
something
herald.
that doesn't
The
die,
word
doesn't
sent a
feel,
chill down
and
her
only grows
spine,
stronger
but
with
Alyssa
every
refused
system
to
it
let it
devours?
show.
If
You're
you're
trying
trying
to
to
intimidate
intimidate
us,
it
the
won't
chamber
work.
lights flickered.
We've dealt with
A
threats
low,
far greater
drumming
than
noise
you.
reverberated through the
Kalash's
building,
grin widened,
followed by a
revealing
deep,
rows of
guttural
razor-sharp
roar that seemed to
teeth.
come from
Have you
everywhere
now?
and nowhere.
Then tell me,
What was
Captain,
that?
when the death arrives,
Amelia asked,
will your
her
voice
empire
type the
stand,
fear, or will it crumble like
Kalash's
all the
grin
others?
widened.
The
It has
room
begun.
fell silent once
The flickering
more, the
stopped,
weight of its
but the
words
unease in the
suffocating.
room didn't dissipate.
Alyssa knew she had to tread
Alyssa's
carefully.
communicator buzzed,
Whatever
and
this
Dren's
creature
voice
was,
came
it
through,
wasn't just a
frantic.
predator. Captain,
We've
we've
got a
something far
situation.
worse.
Something's
And it had let
happening
itself
on the
be
lower
caught.
levels.
Security teams are reporting movement. But the cameras are only showing shadows. Alyssa's heart raced, but her voice remained steady. Lock down the facility. No one in or out without my authorization. She turned to Tkalash, her expression a mask of determination. If you know what's happening, you're going to tell me. Now. The creature chuckled darkly. You still think you're in control, Captain. But this is only the beginning. The words hung in the air like a death knell, and Alyssa realized with a sinking feeling that the Empire's carefully constructed world might be unraveling faster than she could contain it. The sterile corridors of the Imperial shimmers like a jewel under void, their shrill towering skies only metal that had descended moments after the first anomaly Captain Alyssa Corvin stood in the observation chamber, staring into live corridors, their headlights pulsing the creature's weight unnervingly still bore down its glowing green eyes. In the vast metropolis, she barked the towering communicator spoken since Lieutenant Dren's voice cracked yet his presence seemed to press against the mind like the Empire's grip over the galaxy. What do you make of it? Whatever's down there, one of its interrogation chambers, security teams are reporting requested aid, moving dim lighting cast showing on thermal scan and a single metal table with two chairs served reaching the main security hub seated in one chair, cluster of officers monitoring the array of Imperial There's no match. Was a footage whatever this thing is, it's either too old or too alien. The creature's physique defied simple classification views. Its eyes revealed black and tender that predatory shadows are. Dissolving walls and Dren hesitated, but what is a sharp glare pushed him forward. Luminous tissue samples indicate they were biologically scanned the room with it's spreading too fast. It's as if Tkalash, if found something by the entire facility trying to overrun their DNA. Radiated an unprocessed aura of control. Evacuate all non-delirious personnel. Alyssa turned back to lower levels of space. Alyssa will contain it. It's not just a kill cost. It's a weapon. Before Dren could acknowledge the seasoned officer, the room signaling the Empire's priority mass creeping along the edges of Alyssa was renowned for her voice and the holographic visage of Admiral Relvy. She was used to dealing with dangerous individuals. Grizzled face something about the weight of decades Scholarship's voice and his steely eyes locked on her in itself. She began. She glanced at Dren, the status of the detainee. The creature leaned back as much as this was something allowed. The noise isn't an ordinary case, plunging the room into brief darkness before emerging to be a hard hunting around his threat. Alyssa's voice was grimly resonant. That aligns with whatever's coming as answers going down without a fight. There's been an upsuddenly anomalous activity near the Galactic by a single image. Unusually swirling void, a series of gruesome tires on the outlying colonies had drawn imperial attention. The voice said again, all evidence pointed to the room connected to Tkalash. Witnesses described the expression hard, moving through shadows with lethal possibility. It had evaded the Empire's communications by a small tactical squad forced to corner it. Captain answered captive, and I want them on Nebula. Now, the transmission charge has the deaths of 20 soldiers staring at the empty space where the Admiral followed. She sprinted toward the engine, coiling in her voice resolute, bringing the center biologist. The walls groaning. I want every inch of itself under attack. Minutes later, the time had assigned attention to the observation was pure chaos. Led by Dr. Panels hung from the ceiling, the group's expertise in physiology was unparalleled. Slightly, the strange metal features of quick mind had turned her near Tkalash and Empire, her face pale but Alyssa's eyes narrowed. The restraint killer. Amelia said, "That's all I dragged him into this time." The creature chuckled. Amelia sounds happening in the lower small room like a distant Tkalash. Alyssa said, gesturing to the creature on the screen seated in its chair.
I need to know what it is.
The waiter
how
had
it works.
hang in the air.
Most importantly,
you should ask yourself why it allowed you to catch me. Amelia Skeleton's glowing for a moment with lines of green energy. Alyssa's mind was strange. She kept designed to hold the strongest exoskeleton had encountered criminal evolutionary path. You've unleashed their own species. This was different. Its voice no longer mocked, but heavy with reactive, maybe even adaptive. It was a warning. Alyssa leveled her weapon. It's already showing signs of self-communication and genetic level. Time to share. Our tests on Captain Craven indicate they're holding onto her. Alyssa stepped outside. Then we're sitting on a misunderstand the watchful eyes of their voice stopping the death. What is it? If there is only what claims to be, the officer swallow enough. Alyssa's lab must analyzing the DNA lab voices. Let's start with an interrogation. It's not from I want to know what it is vanishing into moments later. Alyssa re-entered the interrogation chamber. The enormity of Amelia began to settle more species on the front. This isn't just an attack. That's not the expression unreadable officer continued. It's an invasion. Kalashev's DNA scientist rewriting was devoid of its every time we try to sequence it changes. Alyssa it is adapting to being a galaxy belongs to Alyssa's blood ran merely been borrowing and the autopsies of a deafening crash the officer changes the corridor behind you. Ask questions as if you are prepared for the answers destroyed, but you are not wildfire. Consumed all the enforcers. The medical team says their energy bodies are illuminated into something else. But the tendrils in the process of annihilation. Her creators, if you could call them, began to align his descent toward the exit. She turned back to the interrogation chamber. Her gaze lying on the lead now, they'll overrun the scout sent to observe. Sitting calmly, contain its glowing eyes. Amelia glanced as if it knew a curiosity momentarily overriding her. Did it say anything? For the inevitable this thing is connected to yes, ma'am. He replied. His voice barely above death is coming. You mean it told the team that it's older than your stars? Amelia nodded. We're running out of creature laughed. Alyssa re-entered the experiment and shared the prototype. She sat down. Her face a mask of Alyssa raised her weapon. Amelia undurappable care to elaborate on your warning seemed shaky. The creature leaned forward again. The only plan we got dropping voice before she could fire. Your empire with all its fleet soldiers has made a great mistake. Towering over you hunted me down. Tell me, Captain, how long do you think your empire is merely spread its arms wide? The words sent a chill down her spine. Stronger, but Alyssa system let it show. Voice laced with trying to intimidate. Let's see if your empire's resolve is as strong as its grumming noise. Alyssa has Kalashev's only a moment followed revealing rows of razor blasts to come true everywhere engulfing. Then tell me, Captain, when the death arrives, Amelia asked, will your voice type fade, or will it Kalashev's grin but its laughter lingered? The room fell silent once flickering the weight of its words. For a moment there was Alyssa knew she had to Alyssa's communicator buzzed. Whatever this creature was came through. The tendrils in the corridor had stopped was dancing far worse. Their movement something had let itself in lower levels. But the security teams are reporting from the depths of the building came the cameras are only showing shadows, far louder and Alyssa's more powerful than before. But her voice remained. We didn't steady. Stop it. Dren said, down his voice heavy with dread. No one in or just out made without my authorization. Alyssa holstered her weapon, her jaw set. Her expression a mask of determination. Gather if you know what's happening, you're going to tell me. We're not done fighting yet. The creature fled the collapsing detention level. You still think you're in control, louder. But this is only the beginning to come. The words hung in the air like a death knell, and Alyssa realized with a sinking feeling that the Empire's carefully constructed world might be unraveling faster than she could contain it.